Thank you, Jackie. Is there any questions? I think she said it all. I'm grateful for the award. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, all of you who worked so hard to bring in the independent voice forward. When I first started running for office, I stood at a corner and I said, I stand here today as a family man, first. Second, I stand here as a Californian. Third, I stand here as a candidate for mayor of Santa Maria, California. And fourth, we can talk party politics, but that doesn't matter today. And I think that's when I started my career. And I said to myself that I would never let a party guide me in the wrong direction just to be part of a government system that is broken. And I decided that it was time to get involved. And I can tell you that there was a story I actually read in the New York Times when I was a young mayor that I'll never forget, and I can't remember it, I didn't clip it, I didn't save it, but I didn't realize that here they call them wards. And there was this city councilwoman saying that when there's two council wards spit on each other, the community gets drooled on. And I took that to heart, because that's what the Republican Party and the Democrat Party have been doing for a long, long time. And they go out there and they fight with each other, and the people lose. And that's not good for America, and it's certainly not good for California. As I was growing up, my mother and father, who are my heroes, and people ask me who your political hero, and I say right away my mom and my dad, because they're the ones that gave me my foundation of who I am. And they raised me with a couple of notions. Number one, son, never ever give up a forest for a tree. And never ever compromise on your principles, but never be afraid to come up with a principled compromise. And it really said it all to me about moving your community forward. And there's going to be some disagreements, and there's going to be some hurdles, but you always have your eye on moving the great community forward. And all I can say is that as I stand here today, I had forgotten that I said that about my colleague in my house. And he did. He tapped me on the shoulder, and I haven't seen him because he's a congressman now. But that congressman's going to have to be careful now, because starting in about 19 days, California will have an open primary top 2. And in an open primary top 2, you get to put your name, and you get to put 3 words as a ballot and title, and that's it. You don't have to put Republican, and you don't have to put Democrat, you don't put anything. And hopefully the politicians will start focusing on growing California's economy instead of growing political parties. Because the system that we have today is one that's broken. It's one that hurts my state, and I'm sorry to hear that you said that Albany is one of the worst and most embarrassing legislators. I thought we were. So I'll take second place to that. But it really is a dysfunctional system. Because when I was the mayor, we would go into closed sessions. When you're in partisan politics, you go into closed caucuses. But when I was the mayor, we never went into a closed session and said, we're going to fix the west side potholes because that's where the Republicans live. Or we're going to fix the street lights on the north side because that's where the Democrats live. We just fixed everything for the entire community. And when I got to Sacramento, it was about, Abel, you got to toe the line, and you need to do this because that's where the Republicans live. And you can't support that because that's where Democrats live. And that's how a lot of legislatures function across America, and that's why they're so dysfunctional in this great nation of ours. So as we move forward, all I can say is that both parties for a while there disliked me. Probably still do. And I'm okay with that. But you know what I told my party? I said, if you want a closed primary election in California, then you should pay for it. Because there's no reason. there's no reason that 3.5 million declined estates and independents in California should pay for your closed primary system and not be able to participate in the electoral process. So I'm going to leave you with this because I think it's important to clarify. I think Jackie had it just a little bit wrong. I didn't sit in the room and say, if you give me this, I'll give you that, because I can't do that. But I can tell you this, that I went into that room and I said, you know what? If you're asking me to increase some revenues on the people of the state of California, then you need to give me something that's important to reform the way government elects itself. Because I'm not prepared to put resources into a broken system. I'm not prepared to put more money of the people's taxpayer hard-earned dollars into a broken government system. You want some revenues? Let's talk about revenues, but it's going to go into a system that is fair, equitable, and one that talks to all Californians instead of a system that only talks to a minority party or to a majority party. And I got to tell you that we got it, we passed it. That was a press conference the next day. And I've been sued 4 or 5 times. Both political parties continue to hate it, and they're fighting it, they're fighting it, they're fighting it. Just last week, I had to raise another $50,000 because they're taking me to the California Supreme Court now, and they just can't fathom the notion of a government that works. Because you see, as long as they got their little caucuses and they can go out there and go, like you said earlier, they can go and look for their candidates and they tell them to sign on the bottom line. It's a pledge to follow the leader and not a pledge to follow their voters. As long as they can do that, they're in power. And starting in 19 days, let me tell you where the power has gone. It has gone to the people of California. Because they're going to decide in the next election. So, just in closing, thank you for this award. It means a lot to me. Jackie was right, it was 14 years. And, you know, there's a couple of things that people don't ask politicians. But I'm going to say something to you, and I'll close with this. If somebody would have come to me early on in my political career and said to me, Abel, what would have kept you from running for state assembly or running for the state senate? What would it be? I would have said open primaries. It took me 14 years to get it. So when you're running for office, there are some things that you really want. And for me, government reform is everything. Because a government that works, that means we have a great country. And when you have a broken government, I can tell you, you can look at what budgets look like. And when I said, as California goes, so goes the rest of the nation, we're starting to see it in Arizona. We're starting to see it in other parts of the country where this partisanship gridlock is taking over, and that must end. And hopefully we can get Proposition 14s or just open primary top 2s throughout the nation. So your organization here has been fantastic. I came to visit it right after Prop 14. A bunch of busy bees working somewhere in a big tall building. All I can say, thank you, keep it going. The work's not over with. We got a lot of work. And hopefully California is just the beginning of the domino effect. Because if we can do that in other parts of our country, we're going to have a great America in the future. Thank you.